Ryan, thank you very much. Alongside Andrea Carter, I am Chris Sheeran, and this was a rough one for the Nets out in Sacramento, Dre. And this game, we should say it again, was tied at 40 apiece at the 8:55 mark of the second quarter. And then since that point, the Kings outscored the Nets 113-81 and run away with this one, scoring 153 points.
And what did we talk about coming into the game? And what was the key to the game?
Defense, defense,
What did you hear Patty Mills talk about? What did you hear Seth Curry talk about? The Kings offense. Patty Mills mentioned defense, right? It was all about the defense for the Nets. And when you talk about, was it great offense by the Kings? Yes. But don't give the Kings so much credit. They were walking into three-pointers. It was catch here, shot. That's what you do in practice.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you're shooting on the shooting machine, right? It's just automatic. These are professional basketball players, and these are good shooters. They got the easiest shots tonight. They were operating so smoothly on the offensive end. On defense, you want to dictate. Tonight, the Brooklyn Nets were reacting on the defensive end because the Kings were moving first. They moved the ball, the Nets moved. They moved the ball, the Nets moved. Then finally, somebody is wide open. The Nets weren't able to dictate on defense, and the Kings were just operating.
All right, we mentioned that second quarter. We're going to show you that second quarter run that the Kings put on. About 9 minutes left. Ben Simmons and Seth Curry play a two-man game as Curry knocks down the three. Now, this is what tied it at 40, just over 9 minutes to play then. Dre, the Kings pull away. Terrence Davis was absolutely unconscious in this one.
Give Terrence Davis so much credit because he came off of the bench and was a huge spark. Energy, knocking down shots, making plays on the defensive end. He had a couple of steals, got them going in transition, and created separation.
Turnovers begin to pile up. Joe Harris comes off a screen, makes a bad pass, and here we go.
There's Davis again. The steal, the double pump on the dunk. The Kings are feeling good now. The Kings are rolling.
Following a timeout, next possession, another Nets turnovers. Davis pushes, gets it to Kevin Huerter, who finds a cutting Harrison Barnes. The ball movement pretty here by Sacramento.
And do you see how Sacramento's, they're just looking for each other. They're just moving together like a well-oiled machine. They did the entire second half.
Later in the quarter, Kings now up 19. Davis continues to have his fingerprints all over the run as he secures the rebound, pushes it up, finds Huerter, knocks down the three. Kings up 64-42. A few possessions later, Kings now up 20. Davion Mitchell hits Huerter here.
And the Kings rarely looked sped up tonight. When you see the shot fake, that's the second time Kevin Huerter's giving a shot fake. You have to know that's what he's prepared to do. Chop your feet, make him put the ball on the floor. Know the scouting report there.
33-14. Kings over the last 8:55 of the second. 153 points allowed, most in regulation in franchise history. The Nets give up. They lost by 32 points. Their largest deficit in this one was nearly 40. And they allowed the Kings to shoot just over 60%. And that's the worst that the Nets have allowed since 2016. Also tied second most points allowed in Nets NBA history. That was 161 on December 7th. 2006. Now, we always try to wonder, was this good Kings offense or bad Nets defense, or was it right down the middle, Andrea? Was it a little bit of both?
It's hard because I feel like saying a little bit of both is like a cop-out, right? I do genuinely think it was just bad Nets defense. Because when I think about the Kings and I think of good Kings offense, there's going to be some creative shots. There's going to be some step-back threes, right? Stepping into threes and making the extra pass and shooting wide-open threes, I can't count that as good offense. It's good ball movement, and it's a good job playing together, but the Kings did not play great defense. Anytime a team shoots 60% from the field, it's bad defense. There's just no way. Like, good offense, in my opinion, at this level is making tough shots. Good offense is finishing through contact. Good offense is really having to dice up the defense. I felt like the Kings had it very easy tonight. That's not taking away from them. They made all the right plays, but I'm going to chalk it up to bad Nets defense.
And this was a Nets team, Dre, that really flipped the script on the defensive side of the ball heading into this West Coast trip, but they just didn't follow through against the Lakers and the Kings tonight. We talked about Domantas Sabonis in the pregame show. What did you think of his performance?
Well, Sabonis is so tough. You saw him operate in the paint. I loved the comparison you made to him like a corkscrew, right? He just here spins deeper and deeper into the paint. He has such great body awareness, body control, skill set, the way he facilitates, but also strength. You see how he leans in and just moves Claxton out of the way with his body, with his torso, with his chest. He is so strong. He finishes with his eyes. He finds his teammates. There are so many big plays that he made, but also to me, he never looks sped up. So right there, Kevin Huerter's cutting around him, moving all different ways, and he just calmly puts the ball right where it needs to be. Sabonis operated great, but Terrence Davis, my goodness. And look at the distribution, right? Like, you don't see this on the Brooklyn Nets side. You see Kevin Durant on the Brooklyn Nets side. Really tough.
Now, when we look at this graphic here, and you brought this up after the first quarter, the distribution of the points with the Kings, but a word you like to use when we did the WNBA together was if a player was having a good game, they were a dog.
Yes.
And Terrence Davis was a dog for the Kings today.
Well, what makes it really difficult, though, when you look at all those players that were scoring in double figures, at that point, it's like, who do you guard, right? So Sabonis gets going, and then De'Aaron Fox gets going, and then Davis just gets to come off the bench and play freely. There's no pressure. The ball's moving. The ball is popping. When you can't figure out who to guard, that's when everybody can get going, right? Because I've already hit a shot, so you have to come out and guard me. Now I'm going to find you. Now you've got a wide open look, and everybody gets flowing that way. When there's just one player that's operating, you can focus in on him. And then the ball gets kicked out. Say the ball gets kicked out to Joe Harris. Now there's this pressure to make the shot because Kevin Durant had 3 players on him, so now I've got to make this shot, right? And it just adds to the pressure. There's not that offense flowing. The Sacramento Kings, when everybody's moving, everybody's flowing, the offense is easy.
I want to give you a lot of credit, too, because in the pregame show, you also brought up the point that there's a different era with this Sacramento Kings team. I know we talked about it at halftime. We talked about it in the pregame show. But after scoring 153 points on this Nets team, which was improving on the defensive side of the ball, Nets bad defense, Kings good offense, no matter what it was, I mean, you could tell in that arena with these players after that win over the Warriors, this is just a different Sacramento Kings team.
Absolutely. And did you see how the Sacramento Kings got it going, though? As soon as that, we showed the highlights, Seth Curry hits that 3, and then what happens? Turnover. Turnover for the Brooklyn Nets. The Sacramento Kings relied on their defense, getting out in transition, running, finding each other for transition 3s. They relied on their defense to create separation once the game was tied. They didn't hang their head. They didn't force shots. They didn't take quick shots that were, out of rotation or out of sync with the offense. They relied on their defense. They turned up the energy, got easy looks, and it created separation, and they didn't get touched from there.
All right, Dre, we're going to step aside, take our first break here on the Nets postgame show. When we come back, we'll hear the thoughts from that man right there, Jacques Vaughn, on his team giving up 153 points, the most in a regulation game in Nets history. That's next on Yes. We're back with final stats from the Nets and Kings, including our key to the game. That would be field goal shooting. And the percentage for the Kings, Dre, you brought up the defensive intensity in the pregame show as your key to the game. And that's not really intense defense when you shoot almost 49% from downtown and just over 60% from the field.
Absolutely not. The Kings were operating in such an incredible fashion offensively because of the lack of the Brooklyn Nets defense. I mean, and the Kings also had a ton of balance. They're shooting 3s. They knocked down 23s. They also had 66 points in the paint. It was their choosing. How do we want to score a bucket on this possession? Okay, this is how we're going to score a bucket on this possession.
And they did it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They did it all game long. They didn't have a let-up. They never took their foot off the gas. Let's hear the comments on this loss from Nets head coach Jacques Vaughn.
John, just looking at the box score, and what stood out to you for what happened tonight?
I think just the very first possession of the game, that sequence of them getting offensive rebounds was the tone setter for the night. And we were reactive instead of dictating across the course of the night. They were the more aggressive team, give them an extreme amount of credit. But it's a good challenge for us to see how we regroup.
What was your message to the guys when you walked off the court?
Yeah, that was it. It was give them credit. They basically kicked our butts. We all were a part of it. I'm a part of it. And we got another game on this trip. How will we respond with this last game on the trip?
From the point where you have the game tied, 40-all, to give up a run like that, 29-4 or what have you, how disappointing was the effort during that span?
It was kind of it was interesting, the plays that happened, whether it was offensive rebound, whether it was us missing a three, them getting an offensive rebound, kicking out, making a three, giving up a transition after we missed a three. So the sequence of it was a little, I don't know, shattering to our confidence a little bit. And that run kind of propelled them to hold on to the rest of the game. There are going to be runs like that. The thing I did like is our group, we stayed together in the huddle, and we were trying to figure it out, so that part's great. But we got to eliminate those runs.
Chuck, why do you think the effort was so lacking tonight?
I don't know if our minds, our bodies, and souls are still in L.A. L.A. will do that to you sometimes. And so we definitely gave maximum effort against the Clippers, and we've been real incensed. So a great time to get a good night's sleep and be ready to go in Portland.
You look at a positive on this is Ben Simmons. It looked like he was attacking to the rim, just kind of a different mindset. What did you see from him tonight?
Yeah, I agree, Megan. I think early on, his first attack to the rim was great. I thought he pushed the pace, a lot of paint attacks. I think the game was at his speed. He was able to get the ball to his teammates, so a lot of good from tonight. So good thing is we'll have a lot of minutes left in Portland to play everybody, and everybody should be fresh, and let's see if we can get a win there.
Thanks, JB.
All right.
Thoughts from Jacques Vaughn there as we take a look now at the Nets defense. Previous 5 games as compared to the last 2, and you could see the stark difference. It looked like they turned the corner on defense, Dre, in that 5-game stretch where they were allowing just over 91 points per game. But over the last 2 against the Lakers and now the Kings tonight, they give up 116 to the Lakers, 153 to the Kings. It's night and day, the difference.
Yeah, it is definitely night and day. And one thing that you have to consider with this Brooklyn Nets team that I think is more impactful than one might consider, I feel like it's undervalued, is the rotations. Like when you watch the Sacramento Kings team operate tonight, Terrence Davis could come in and it looked like he knew exactly what his role was supposed to be when he came onto the floor. And the Brooklyn Nets, when you think about their injuries, when you think about guys in and out of the lineup, when you think about the Kyrie situation, it's not exactly clear. It doesn't look like it's clear when guys are coming off the bench or even some of the guys in the starting lineup. What is my role? Where do I operate the best? Where do I get my shots from? Where do my teammates like their shots from? That comes from playing together. Not just playing together, but playing together with a consistent rotation. They haven't had that, and it kind of shows in the way that they perform on the floor. It's harder to dig yourself out of a hole when you don't know your roles, when you don't know where the shots are going to come from outside of Kevin Durant.
Think about the players you just mentioned. Ben Simmons was a starter at the beginning of the season. Kyrie Irving. Joe Harris still coming back from the ankle. Seth Curry first off the bench with the ankle and the injury management. So the Nets really don't have that kind of cohesion that you just said the Kings had.
But I do think one positive, just speaking of cohesion, made it come to my mind, Jacques Vaughn saying that they stayed together in the huddles. Because this is a West Coast trip that no matter what happens when they get back on the East Coast could cause some separation. So it is a very good sign that they're able to stay together in this game, hopefully put the pieces together for Portland, and then bring things back home, sleep in your own bed, leave all that energy on the West Coast, get some positive energy on the East Coast. They need to stay together in this trip.
And you read my mind because it doesn't get any easier going to Portland next. We're going to step aside here on the postgame show. When we come back, we'll get thoughts from Kevin Durant on this loss in Sacramento. That's next right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app. Dre, Kevin Durant continues to make history despite the Nets getting blown out in Sacramento tonight.
You mentioned being a dog earlier, and Kevin Durant is an absolute dog. It's amazing everything going on with this team and how he still finds a way to get work done, get the job done, and find the bottom of the net. His skill set, he's so smooth. He's got incredible athleticism. My favorite play was early in the game when he was almost up underneath the basket on his drive and his attack. Was it this one? Oh my gosh, it was this one. I didn't even know it was that one. I really didn't know it was that one. It's like I'm in sync with the plays.
You're good, you.
I felt that. But Kevin Durant, another phenomenal performance. Despite the pieces around him struggling, he continues to get it done. 27
points. He had 6 assists, 4 rebounds to go with a perfect night at the free throw line, hitting on all 11 of his freebies. Terrence Davis led the way for the Kings with 31. Moments ago, KD spoke with the media.
Kevin, when you have this game tied 40 all and give up a 29-4 run that you guys couldn't really seem to respond to, how disappointing is that?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to, go on droughts like that. Just got to give Sacramento credit. I mean, they played fast. They made shots all night. They put pressure on us all night. So you got to give credit to them for playing a great game.
Kevin, why do you think the collective effort was so bad tonight?
I mean, we had great intentions. They just made shots. I mean, that's demoralizing. When you see teams making shots, it's not like we didn't try. It just felt like they were just better than us on the offensive side of the ball. And defensively, they threw a lot of gimmicks in there. I felt like we got a lot of open shots, too. We just didn't knock them in. But, yeah, I wouldn't say it was just a lack of effort or guys didn't care. It was just that they were just better. Sometimes it's just better than you.
What did you see from Ben tonight? It looked like he was more aggressive going to the rim and attacking compared to what we've seen earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff that we expect out of him. I mean, nothing surprising.
I mean, do you notice him getting at least a little bit closer to being what he normally would be physically, or is that more?
I mean, if you're out there and you're playing, and I assume that you're physically fine. But he made some good drives tonight, but that's what we expect out of him.
Have you, in your mind, noted any? I mean, Jacques kind of commented, you guys gave maximum effort against Clippers, and then it seems like you've had a hangover since then.
I wouldn't say it's a hangover. Teams have just been.
That was not his job.
Yeah, teams have just been playing better, making more shots. I mean, we've been, we got guys that care and that want to win, but we just didn't play well. It's not for lack of anything mentally. It's just that they were better than us tonight. So you got to give them credit more so than trying to find out what we lack mentally or emotionally as a group. I just think they were better. And I think we're going to come out next game and with great intentions and with a good game plan and play extremely hard. And we'll see what happens.
Kevin, you know Mike real well from your Warriors days. What do you think he's doing differently now?
I mean, they got a deep team. They got a lot of guys that can play real minutes on any NBA team. They got 10, 11 guys that can do that. So, when you step into a situation like that, you got two all-star caliber players and Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. That's a great team to build with. So it was a great choice by Mike to choose the Sacramento Kings, and it's great by Sacramento to give Mike a chance because he's been a part of championships groups for the last 6-7 years. So just perfect pairing, I think.
Talked about the history that Kevin Durant is putting together here for the Nets this season. Longest streaks with 25 or more points to begin the season NBA all-time. He's got some work to do to catch Wilt with 80. But look at the names on here. Rick Barry, Elgin Baylor, Michael Jordan, of course, and Kevin Durant. Just one more for him, Dre, and he ties Jordan from the 88-89 season.
He's great. I mean, he is going to go down as one of the best to ever play this game. His skill set, his love for the game, his relentless ability to compete. I mean, he's had 40 career games against the Kings. He scored 25 points or more in 30 of them, right? So it's almost like he knows, like, okay, I can operate against any team that I'm up against. He was double teamed. He was triple teamed. He talked about the Kings being able to execute defensively and throwing different things at them. That's that cohesion on the defensive end that the Kings have that the Brooklyn Nets don't have just yet, right? We really saw a tale of two teams. We see a team in Sacramento that's operating offensively and defensively together as a unit. Different schemes, different plays. Brooklyn's just not there. I think what Kevin Durant said was right. They were just better. Better at hitting shots, better at executing defensive game plans, and better at finding each other and playing together on the offensive end, better in transition. The Kings were better. He was right.
It's hard to find silver linings when you give up 153 points in a game, Dre. But when we come back, we're going to hear from the silver lining in this game. That would be Ben Simmons, who did show progress tonight in Sacramento, even though the Nets were taken to the woodshed. We'll hear from Ben next on Yes. Ben Simmons tonight, and Dre, you called this early. He was playing with purpose, pace, and poise.
When I saw this play, him gain speed, get downhill, and pick up speed and momentum, almost like a snowball, I said, okay, we might see an elevated version of Ben Simmons tonight, and that is exactly what happened. Pushing the ball up the floor in transition after covering ground for the defensive rebound, and then this play is great because watch him cut to the paint. There's no hesitation. He gets right into the paint. I remember so many analysts, oh, he doesn't want to be in the paint. He doesn't want to get fouled. He doesn't want to be touched. He's not thinking. He's going into the paint. He trailed behind Patty Mills to set up that pass so he could look to attack in transition. Again, in the paint, skying high, dunking the basketball with authority, attacking the paint with a smooth step through. There was just an elevated aggression from Ben Simmons that Kevin Durant said, we expect out of him. That's what everybody expects of him because you've seen it before. You know what he is capable of. We saw glimpses of it tonight, but there were consistent glimpses, which we haven't seen this season.
And a season high in points tonight of 11. Over his first 9, he was averaging just over 5. He was 5 of 7 from the floor, 5 boards and 3 assists. And moments ago, our Megan triplet teed up the first question for Ben Simmons.
Ben, when you look at tonight, what did you see that was the difference maker?
We got smacked. They were better offensively and defensively. They played as a team, 4 quarters.
When you think about what the Kings were able to do, you said, I know they played better. What did you see from the energy and the effort level from you guys, and how would you describe it?
They were just consistent with that game plan, stuck with it. Offensively, attacked the rims. The bonus was a monster down there. Got a lot of great looks. Shot the ball well from 3.
Well, you guys had it tied 40 all, and then give up that 29-4 run. I mean, was that you guys pulling away from kind of the game plan and what you were supposed to be doing, or was it something else that they were doing?
I think, tomorrow we're going to look at film, or tonight we'll look at film, see the real big differences in the first and that little gap that we had. I think they just played better than us tonight. They wanted it more. Obviously, we didn't want it.
Generally, I mean, there's always runs in these games. Some of them get bigger than they should.
Yeah.
But you guys didn't really have much of a response.
I don't think that's not acceptable from us. All of us, players, coaches, it's not acceptable.
What was it like coming off the bench?
What you mean?
Well, that's not something you're accustomed to.
No, I mean, I'm accustomed to playing, though, so, it's good to be out there when I get on the floor. So, whatever coach wants, whatever's best for the team.
You took a hard ball, back, knee, everything good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm bruised up, but I'm good.
You were saying this morning, felt like you're moving better. Do you feel like tonight you had a real good game? You feel like each game the rust is kind of knocking off a little more?
Yeah, it takes time to build up, especially with having a nerve injury. It takes 18 months for your nerves to fully heal. People don't know that, but over time, I get better and better. Just keep pushing.
Do you expect this though to be? Do you think it'll be linear, or is it going to be like fits and starts, kind of up and down?
In terms of?
Well, in terms of you getting back to where you normally would be.
It would just take time. I don't have the answers. I've never been through this, so, if I did, I'd give them straight to you.
Jock said a positive was just your mentality attacking to the rim. I know you said that you're slowly getting back. Was that indicative of kind of that?
Yeah, and I got to do that for this team, I got to attack the rim, find my guys. It got to be me. And, slowly but surely, I think I'll get there.
You have on Portland, well, you have Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, and Jeremy Grant. Those 3 guys average over 20 points per game together. They all had over 20 points per game tonight. The ability of Grant and Damian Lillard to knock down 3-point shots. We saw something similar to that today with Kevin Huerter and Terrence Davis, right? Knocking down threes. If Brooklyn doesn't pick up their defense, I feel like I've talked about defense all night, but it's because we came in with defense being the important factor, and then it didn't happen, and defense is also going to be an important factor against Portland. Portland has dynamic scorers, especially from the guard position. They can beat you. They can get into the paint. What happens when you get into the paint? The defense collapses. Then you kick out. That's when those easy threes happen. So containing those three guards and that three-headed monster for Portland is going to be huge because it could be a very similar result to what we saw tonight if those Portland shots start rolling.
I was going to say that. The Kings, it sounded like you were describing tonight's game against Sacramento, but you know what?
They had 15 threes tonight.
Easier said than done. We'll see if the Nets can take care of business in Portland on Thursday. Dre and I will have final thoughts coming up next right here on Yes.